Welcome back to Talk to AiLA, the podcast where we bridge the gap between artificial intelligence and real-world applications. I'm your host, Paul Lieberman, and today we're diving into a topic that's as exciting as it is nerve-wracking: artificial intelligence and protected health information. Yes, folks, we're talking about AI in healthcare and the big, scary, yet absolute necessary world of HIPAA compliance. But if AI is the future of medicine, then HIPAA is the grumpy old security guard standing at the door demanding 2 forms of ID and a background check before letting AI in. Now I know what you're thinking. HIPAA regulations sound like the legal equivalent of reading War and Peace in one sitting. But don't worry, I promise to keep this light, engaging, and maybe even, dare I say, fun. After all, as Winston Churchill once said, to each there comes in their lifetime a special moment when they are figuratively tapped on the shoulder and offered the chance to do something very special. Well, for AI in healthcare, that moment is now. But first, we need to make sure AI doesn't get tackled by compliance officer before it can change the world. So let's get into it. First things first, what is protected health information? PHI. And why does it need so much protection? PHI is any medical information that can be linked to a specific person. Think names, medical history, test results, prescriptions, basically anything you wouldn't want plastered on a billboard in Times Square. And when AI gets involved, things get tricky because AI needs data to learn. But HIPAA has one golden rule: thou shalt not mishandle patient data. So how do we keep AI both useful and compliant? Let's break it down. One of the easiest ways to stay HIPAA compliant is to de-identify PHI before feeding it into any AI system. In simple terms, that means stripping away any personal details. That means names, addresses, ID numbers, so the data can no longer be traced back to any specific person. Think of it like those spy movies where the agent gets a new identity, except in this case, the patient's data isn't moving to a tropical island with a fake passport. It's just getting a digital disguise to keep it safe. Now here's where things get a little interesting. HIPAA actually allows for PHI to be used in research under certain situations. If AI development is categorized as research, then HIPAA makes some allowances. But there's a catch. Either you get explicit patient consent or meet very strict guidelines. And trust me, the last thing you want to explain to any government official is why your AI project is skirting the rules. They have very expensive penalties for that kind of thing, and you do not want to get involved. As Voltaire once put it, with great power comes great responsibility. And in AI's case, that responsibility includes not getting sued. If you're working with an outside AI vendor to process PHI, you need a business associate agreement, otherwise known as a BAA. Think of it like a prenup between a healthcare provider and the AI company. It legally ensures that both parties will treat PHI with the same level of caution as a bomb disposal expert handling a live grenade. Without a BAA, things can get messy fast, and nobody wants to be in the headlines for a data breach just because they forgot to dot their legal I's and cross their compliance T's. If full de-identification isn't possible, HIPAA allows the use of limited data sets, data that still has some identifiable information, but with strict rules on how it can be used. It's kind of like letting AI take a peek behind the curtain, but only with supervision. No sneaky data mining allowed. Now here's the kicker. HIPAA doesn't actually have specific AI guidelines. That means healthcare providers and AI developers are left to interpret existing rules and apply them to AI-driven initiatives. It's like being handed a recipe with no measurements. You know what the dish is supposed to be, but you're kind of guessing at the proportions. Until regulators catch up, organizations using AI in healthcare have to take a cautious and proactive approach, and that means following the golden rule of AI and PHI. Now, some of these golden rules will include the use of minimum necessary data. Don't hand AI more PHI than it needs. You must have strict access controls. Only authorized personnel should have access. Now, if Dave from accounting asks for PHI access, tell him no. You have to encrypt everything. Data at rest and in transit should be locked down like Fort Knox. And you must perform regular risk assessments. AI should be monitored like a toddler with permanent markers. Always assume it's going to be a mess. So where do we go from here? As AI continues to revolutionize healthcare, HIPAA regulations will likely evolve to keep up. But until then, AI developers and healthcare providers need to play it safe, play it smart, and most importantly, play by the rules. Because when it comes to AI and PHI, there is no margin for error. Or as Benjamin Franklin wisely put, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. That's it for today's episode of Talk to AiLA. If you found this discussion helpful, or you just enjoy hearing me try to make HIPAA compliance entertaining, be sure to subscribe and share this podcast with a friend. And remember, AI is the future, but only if we handle it responsibly. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time.